So 2025 has been a pretty big year for me and my business, and so I kind of want to go over kind of a 2025 recap going into the new year. So the first thing that happened this year, or I guess happened at the end of 2024, is I got a new mill, or new to me, and I have a video on that. And so I got a new machine in, and I spent a lot of the beginning of this year learning that new machine. And so getting things down, kind of figuring out how to use it, and very happy with that purchase. Everything has gone really well so far, and I'm very happy with that machine. Shortly into the year, I released my first channel titanium ballast song, the Static. It's a knife I've been wanting to make for a couple of years, and I finally had the equipment to do it with the new mill. And so that was one of the first things I did this year. So shortly after getting the machine in, I would have started this move in either the end of January or the beginning of February is when I started working on this shop. This shop is my own shop. I have it, I rent it. And I moved out of my parents' garage. I both moved out, just I don't live with them anymore, as well as moved my business out of that, which is a big step, really nice. And so it's nice to finally get my business its own space and be able to have just my own dedicated space for my business. But that shop required quite a bit of work to get into it, which you'll see some stuff like that. And so I spent the better part of a month working on the shop. It's about 40 minutes north of where I was, and so it was a fair bit of driving to come up here and work. And so I spent a lot of time on that. And then we got everything moved in, which editor me, remember to put some footage over this. I definitely have footage of all this. Getting everything moved in was a big ordeal. There's two halves. I have one half of the shop. My father actually has the other half of the shop. And so everything that was coming out of that garage went into this larger shop building, and then I rent half of the shop independently. So it just kind of worked out pretty well. Yeah, and so after getting everything in here, I spent a lot of time just get everything up and running. You know, this year I've probably had about 4 months of shop downtime, maybe 3 months, but something like that, where my shop was either completely down due to moving and building stuff, or down just due to setting stuff up after moving and building stuff, because it does take a fair bit of time. So after that, I went ahead and started getting the folders finished. And so a folder is the knife project I've been working on for about 2 years now. And it took about 1.5 years for me to finally release it. I released it June of this year, and so it took quite a long time to get that knife done. And I've been producing those since June. Pretty small numbers still, not making a ton of them, but getting that process dialed and getting them ready to make a lot more. So next year I plan to really push that project and get that moving how I want to. And so after getting the folder up and running, there was a bit of like chill time where I just spent a lot of time working on setting up the shop and just kind of getting things figured out in terms of workflow and just making knives. That's how I spent most of the time after June. Come October, I found this machine behind me and started getting ready to buy this machine. And part of that included adding a whole new section to my shop, which I was thankfully able to do because this machine is actually longer than the entire shop I had. So I had a 15 by 30 foot space, and so this machine is like 31 feet long, and so it would have taken up the entire space. And so I added another 15 feet to the end of the shop. There was already a concrete pad there with a lean-to, and so it was just enclosing that section, which worked pretty well. It was eventually the plan to do that anyways. Let's just push that timeline forward. And so now my shop is 15 by like 45 feet, which is pretty nice. It's a very narrow shop space, but I've made it work, and it's a so far, very efficient space. And so getting this machine in, I'm going to have a full video on that. I was hoping to have that done by the end of the year, but I wanted that video to basically be from purchase and a bunch of other stuff like that to first chips. So to first chips was my plan with that video. I've had this machine for over 2 months now, and we are not at first chips. And so I'm waiting on some parts still, but they should be in here pretty soon. So quite a lot went into getting this machine in here, and so you'll see a lot of footage of that, and I'll probably voice over some of it, but there's going to be an entire dedicated video to this machine. And yeah, that's kind of been my year. I mean, I've done a lot more. It's just how much of it's business related. You know, I had to fix my whole surface grinder. That has a whole bunch of stuff to do in setting up my shop, moving stuff. You know, hopefully this is just kind of a pretty quick retrospective video, or retrospect of kind of what's been going on. But yeah, it's been a really good year. I've been very happy with the amount of stuff I've got done. If you had said at the beginning of this year that I'd have my own shop, well, I kind of knew I was going to have my own shop by the end of last year anyways, but I was going to be in my own shop space with a shop that I really love and that I set up, running this mill really well, with a Swiss lathe in my shop ready to get moving. I'm very, very pleased with what I've been able to do this year. I was able to release 2 new products. I got more products kind of in the works. I'm starting the launch of an entire hardware business where I just make hardware on the Swiss, and so I just make and sell hardware, as well as doing some job shop work. I'm planning to do some job shop work on this machine as well as making my ballet handles on it and stuff like that. And so there's a lot that I plan to do with this machine. This machine should be a huge force multiplier in the future, taking a lot of work off of my mill, because kind of my options were, I'm either going to have to get another CNC mill, or I can maybe get one of these and pull a lot of the work off of that and make it a little less personally intensive. And so this was a great option. Unfortunately, my shop is now very full, and so I don't have the ability to add many more machines in here. Nothing big, nothing like a new mill. Next year, I kind of want to get some better finishing equipment, so better tumbling equipment, stuff like that, as well as possibly one of those mini water jets. I would really like to have one of those. I could fit one kind of in that back corner over there, and that would be really helpful in terms of water cutting custom materials, as this year I also started doing some customs limited run versions of my products, where I do custom blade shapes and custom machining on some stuff, and I do like a 10 run of them. And so being able to water jet those blanks out would be hugely beneficial in the effectiveness and ease of making that product. And so I want to be able to do that in the future as well. That's just not kind of a super important thing. I get a bunch of all my big production stuff, I get water jet, and the amount I spend on water jetting every year is like the cost of buying a used one of those. And so as soon as I stop dumping money into the lathe and it starts bringing me some money back, probably look at purchasing one of those. So yeah, it's been a great year. I'm really excited to start next year strong. I'm excited to get those folders moving, and to get some more presence in the folder world, as well as kind of refine my ballet process and figure out exactly what I'm doing there, as well as launch a hardware brand. And you know, I'm also doing school at the same time, so big stuff. Last year was also a big school year for me. I got a lot of stuff done. You know, summer semester I should be able to graduate with my AA, which will be nice. And I do intend to do a full 4 years, so I got more years on that, which is fun. But finally getting a degree in anything will be nice after 4 years in school, because yeah, it's been a lot. It's not that I'm just bad at school, it's that I'm doing a lighter class load. I also switched majors halfway through, and so yeah, it's been a lot. There will be a full shop tour in the future. I just want to get everything running before then, and so it could be a fun shop tour of like, hey, these are the machines and here's how they work. As well as I'm going to have a full lathe video of getting it in and stuff like that. So yeah.